This is an intuitive tarot card reading. My beautiful deck. Gorgeous. Mm-hmm. The Chariot. I was fantasizing earlier about bringing the heart physically to the center of my body, where it belongs, and then through that correct positioning, the wings sprout through the back of the heart, out the body, and just flying all around. Yeah. That's the balance between the pull of energies, the yin and the yang. Mm-hmm. And this person who appears quite, what's the word when they're not super masculine or super feminine, they're right in the middle. That. Okay, well, keep that in mind. The sun is shining on them. Strength. So, what I like about this card is I notice the eyes, and I see that both creature and man sees you with respect, like you hold your own, right? They're not looking at you like a prey animal. Neither are they fearing you. But coming to see each thing honestly for what it is, in comfort, a comfortable way. I mean, that's probably the kind kindest eyed lion that I've seen pictured. And part of me has trouble understanding this lion's story for that reason. Because you think about the lion and you think about strength with a certain fierceness. But there's no fierceness in his eyes. They're so open. And almost like a child's. Or like a baby, a little cub. Whereas the woman is a little bit more intense. And so it's hard for me to figure her out as well. What is she thinking looking at you? Is she thinking anything at all? But obviously they have a connection. So they've already come to understand each other, and now there's this introduction of a third energy, and how does that impact the interplay? So we've got animals here in both of these cards. I was just looking at these yesterday. The Hermit. These are all in order. This is 8, 9, 10. You know, based on my shuffling. That's how it went. I had them. They were pre-ordered in this deck. I had ordered them beforehand. Because I was studying the cards. At a coffee shop yesterday, when I was down in Austin, at the new coffee shop on Highland campus. And I had parked out there the night before and slept in my car. And then, because I'd been partying at Ego's karaoke bar. And I had so much fun. And I went home with a guy, but I didn't want to do things with him. I just wanted to sleep and cuddle. But he, he was a good man, and he applied very little pressure to me. So, but they were, okay, anyway, I could keep going on this story, but I won't. The point is, I was observing these cards at the coffee shop yesterday, and also observing my belly and having some really cool moments and interesting experiences. And, not exactly this dimension, like my awareness was a little bit different. But I was feeling a bit of a connection to the people around me, some of them, which I always enjoy. So another card with an animal. This is the snake, which is a very interesting animal to me. I don't have a lot of experience, particularly recently, around snakes in the 3D. But I know that the Kundalini energy is represented by the snake, which is an energy that shoots up the spine, something along those lines, right? I haven't experienced it. My tailbone is still misaligned, so I'm working. I'm working on that because I'm very excited about healing my body. And to me, I've definitely been in this hermit mode, and I've been in concentration on my body and my spine, and coming to feel myself from the inside out. feel and heal. You gotta feel to heal, you know. Anyway. Let's see. I'm gonna split the deck again. Yeah, it's still in order. That's the Wheel of Fortune, which is a great and interesting card. Look at it. Check that shit out. To me, it speaks a little bit about time bending, and you can see her focus is inward, not on the outside 3D world, and she's got this eye right here that's, you know, peering through time and space and the mechanism of all things. So it's a very wise card. Oh, I'll put it out here. 9 of Swords. This to me represents even in the place where you used to find comfort, there is suffering, like there is no safe space. You are bombarded through mental suffering, and can't escape it. It's the 9 of Swords, you know. So, you know, great turmoil, great suffering, all caused through the mental space. You know, it's not in the 3D that this is happening. It's psychic attacks. A very uncomfortable place to be. And for what purpose? I don't know. Right now, I don't know. And there's the 8. I think this was one of the first cards that I observed. It's so interesting. And the word that comes up for me is surrender, because, well, it's surrender or suffer. Either way, you can't take any action at this specific moment, at this point. The eyes are closed, but the third eye is open. And so seeing from a higher perspective, you can, there's the opportunity still to observe your situation, and accept it from a higher point of view, and thus preventing unnecessary suffering in yourself. You say, well, this is where I am, and at this moment there's nowhere to go from here. So optimally, I'm best off to just accept this. That's the 8. And then if you're still not able to take that vibration to a higher place, then you're gonna end up no eyes open. You know, you're gonna be completely lost, and at that point it's kind of left up to grace to bring you out, or for the suffering to be through with you, you know. We've all been there, but but this is still, this is not the hopeless place. You think when you're in this place that this is the ultimate hopelessness. And if you believe that, boom, mentally, you end up here. That's what's happening. When this eye closes, this is what's happening to you. From here, you can observe from a higher perspective. there's a part of you that is still able to accept with ultimate humility, right? It's the depth of the lesson. So this can be a valuable place because, it's going to happen. Everyone's going to end up here at some point, but if you can recognize this place in you, then you don't have to end up here. Totally shut off, totally shut down. Although, this is the epitome of the human experience, so I'm not bashing it, but it's not a place I want to be ever. It's not a necessary place. There's no extra lesson there except suffering, the lesson of suffering, which we get plenty of. We don't need more. And it was still ordered here. I'll shuffle again. But there's the Seven of Swords. This guy, he's creeping from a closet. So he's in a dangerous, precarious situation, but he's covert. That's the card up his sleeve, is that he's there, he's got resources he can take to battle, to fight, to get out of this situation. That's an option. Or to wait, to observe, to see what happens. But the only way out is through that door and into the thing that he's hiding from. So it's a card about timing. Right timing will be so beneficial in this type of situation. Right timing and right action is going to be necessary to create a better outcome at this point. Because you see what comes after when the outcome isn't made to be better, then it's made to be worse. And here you go. It looks like whatever action took place, you got caught and you got very tied up in this situation. And now it's to be seen. It's out. You're out in the open. And yeah. Now you see the ribbon is loose at the bottom. And it's possible that you could interpret this, if you wanted, as two of these swords are in your hands. And in that case, like the moonshot, you could cut yourself free. That's an option. It all comes down to belief. If you, in that situation, you are able to access the hope and the belief and the vibration necessary to achieve a better situation, then anything can happen, And it could, anyone could, a horse could, a knight could ride up and set you free, right? That's probably a more likely scenario. Or, okay. Four of Pentacles. The Pentacles are interesting to me because my relationship with money, with, real world things, everyday things, day to day, wealth, abundance, and the mundane world, I should say, it's not great. So I'm learning a lot from observing these pentacles, the pentacle cards. And this one, for me, the 4 is about the inherent wealth of your body. The fact that we have a body is richness. You know, we are all wealthy. The earth that we stand on are coins. You know, the earth under our feet, what we hold in our hands, our body, all of it is, there's so much value in a single person. You could see he's not doing anything. He's very like covered. He appears to in himself not have anything to offer. You know, he could be a bum just sitting there watching passersby, and still this is his inheritance. It doesn't make him unique. There's nothing unique about this man, except that you're witnessing him for his value. And there's even, you know, these could be interpreted as coins on the ground. Like the wealth is it's just all around. It's in the whole vicinity. Yay. I was hoping that we would step down. So this is the 3 of Pentacles. And you see the value of help. You see the value of the hands. We don't know what they're doing. They could be swinging from a vine, you know, in play, or tug of war against the competitors, or it could be working, pulling something to accomplish a specific task. That's not the point. The point is that the value of the hands, which is also something that I want to explore more, because I feel this weakness in my wrists and in the hands, the constriction of energy flow there. I'm not able to access the true power of the hands at this point. And that may or may not be uncommon. I suspect it's not uncommon. And what you also see with the 3 is help. It's not just you. With both of your hands, that's one thing. But with a third hand, it can make all the difference. And you don't see, you know, they may be applying a light amount of pressure. It may be a lot of pressure, but I believe that it represents the exact necessary addition to what these hands have. And so together with all 3 of them, you're able to accomplish this task, like what has been set out to accomplish. But it took 3. And receiving that help is, you know, most of us would rather strain and use just our 2 hands. I believe that's why my hands suffer, is because I'm more inclined to take on additional strain to my body, to my psyche, to my person, rather than enact to receive assistance. It's like Do you not believe that you deserve more wealth, more abundance? You think you should be able to pull through with just what you've got. And it's going to be a struggle, but you're going to be able to pull through with what you've got because you don't have a third hand. If you grew a third arm out of your chest, then this would be totally fine. But it's about where does this even come from? And how do we receive it? It's about receiving. It's so simple. It's a 3. It's a very early lesson that we're designed to learn, and yet a lot of us learned instead the lesson of struggle, and we moved on from there, which complicates everything that comes after. What else? Oh, interesting. Okay. The 6 of Wands. I wasn't expecting that one. I was expecting the 2 of Pentacles, but I like this card too. The Wands, I think about Harry Potter. I think about the magic wand, and that wand representing, it's a piece of wood, right? And it represents the groundedness of the 3D plane. It represents objectivism, that what you see is what is 3D is what's real. So it's what exists without exception of the other planes of existence, which do exist, but this is the representation of the one that we live on, to me. And to me, it represents the masculine, the pure masculine essence, a stick of wood, which through that essence, the magic can come forth. So the wielder of the magic wand, because they hold the groundedness in the palm of their hand, they're able to, like a person on a string, they can be tied to this groundedness and rise into any plane, any level. They essentially become the magic, a beacon for magic. It comes through them, and then boom, from them through into the 3D world through the wand. It's almost like an extension. And I think that is very cool. That's very cool. It's a very recent epiphany. Like I said, I was meditating on these cards yesterday. And this, to me, represents that she is the feminine, right? And this is the masculine, the structure who is there supporting in the background, but on stage, they're in support of that feminine creative energy and witnessing it. And so as a woman, like, she must not feel the loss of her masculine, that she is by herself, even though here she is the pure feminine being represented. The masculine is here with her. They're both in frame. They're both in this now moment. They're together. And for me, that is what I'm uncovering about the wands. I'm still uncovering their meaning. But it's representing largely these pure masculine, pure feminine, well, these I don't know, these dynamics. I don't know, it's interesting though. Let's see if there's anything else. The star. The reach, the great reach. Lots of stars in the sky, but this one looks like it's exploding out. It's the most recent death. And being seen and recognized in its shining moment. Wow. So is this the masculine then? This physical star exploding. The biggest masculine movement to be made. And here the feminine is the one in complete witness of the masculine. Wow. And what happens from there? I don't know. Her hair is beautiful here. It's kind of cool. She's got, if you look at her hand, it's almost like in the shape of a gun. She shot him out of the sky. If that's her wish, they'll make it happen. Come down to me. The females in this deck have some crazy hair. It goes from very thin and very wiry to all over the place, like tree branches, and messy, and here it's just so thick and beautiful. I love that. Like this one, remember? An older woman, but you know, her hair's thinned, but it's quite beautiful as well. I love this card. Wow. She has long fingers too. Long, slender, nice tits. It's like having command over what is it in the Bible? Submission, mutual submission is necessary. It's submission is what we call it. That's sort of a loaded word at this point. But it's a mutual understanding of the best for all, which in the yin yang, the best for both. being so, being unified, so that it's not about sacrificing and giving things up. And at that point, it's a natural way of things that we can manipulate. There's no end to what we're able to do, and isn't that what the star represents? It's the major dream exists. Anyway, it is a far reach. It's a far reach, and I'm just touching on it. What else? Oh. This reach seems even farther in a way. It's not, it's closer. The moon is closer than the stars. But, which kind of just goes to show how little understanding we have, and how brilliant the representation of this card is. How brilliant the brilliance of what this means. You gotta live it first, right? And who has ever lived this brilliance thus far? I can't say. And here the moon, which I would say is way more frontward in our psyche at this time. I know in myself, it's not so much a contemplation, but I am accessing more what the moon represents. So astrologically, my moon is in Aries, and Aries is in opposition to my sun, which is in Libra, as well as many other placements in Libra. And I am seeing how I've taken on and accepted the Libra components of myself, and the Aries components I rejected to try to avoid pain and trouble, which, things just had to have their way. And now my Aries is having her way, and I love it. And I'm very excited about the doors that's going to open in my psyche, and particularly emotionally. And I don't know what I can say about this card. Because of my own little understanding. I looked at it before and I just had questions. I mean, I drew blanks. You see that her hair is all tied up in it. So she's obviously feeling something. She's going through something. And the star, it's laying flat. It's just a wonder, but a relaxation. Like there's no more striving. Just an enthusiasm. The enthusiasm. Whereas here, and this is interesting too, the Black woman's hair is covered. And I believe that it's covered in the other photo as well. And here too. There's a mystery there. It's like our understanding hasn't even touched what the representation of this, it is so shrouded in mystery. Because it doesn't react the same. And so then it's important to understand, what does the hair represent on these women? Here in her shining moment, her stardom, well, you could say that's the shining moment. That's the shining moment, and that's the stardom, truly. This is the everyday world representation of that, on a more mundane plane. And you can see that her hair is up and back, and I think that that's appropriate. It's a humility of, this is the representation, but we don't have the command over our hair to make it obey like we can make our bodies obey. This is part of the act, It designed to inspire, and we see that this does, you would hope. Or else it's just everyone playing their part, which is also possible. With, respect. Everyone's playing respect to their part here, at the least. And she's happy, she's proud, thankful, appropriate, and he is here. So it's nice, but it's not the heights of human experience by any means. But it's an important, positive, energetic bush. A support, in a way. It's like a support to our dreams. In little baby steps, maybe. I don't know if even that, but in here, this could be a shawl. I'm not sure that it is. It looks to be different from hair. Actually, it could be the tree. A twisted trunk of tree, which would be, yes, masculine. Going up here. And the hair of the woman going up there. Okay. The masculine is tied to the emotionality as well. In a different way. But there's a lack in understanding on both sides, really. This hadn't even appeared in my consciousness before. No, it had. It had appeared. The trunk of the tree. But not past that is what I mean. Like, I see the image, but I don't understand it. And maybe we could say that with our emotions, simply. We can see there's emotions, but we don't understand them, or how they make their way down and back from the moon, up and down, out and back, in and out. I don't know. And here a chasm between us. We're a little short, we just are each on our pedestals. And it feels appropriate and comfortable with the land or the ocean in the middle. No stars in the sky. She's looking at him. and covering herself. Here they're both covered. Their bodies have coverings. There's not a connection here. She peers at him with a specific look in her eye. Well, on her face, you could say. And can you see this? Wow. It's not of the utmost importance, but here you see that he is looking downward. And is there a shame? She's looking almost with, it could be anger or frustration. Also, I think just trying to understand, which is where the frustration comes from. And him in his trying to understand, he doesn't know if it's wrong. He can't look at her because he doesn't know, what's correct. And I think both of them are there in this place of not knowing the correctness and not trusting this thing that's happening here. They pay no mind to it. They're looking down, they're looking at each other, but what of the moon? And that's what each of you is connecting to. And these things are wrapping you up and clothing you. It's, they're not squeezing you. You're not in danger. You're protected. And maybe there's a taking for granted, or imagine standing up there naked. Maybe, what does the moon want? The moon is naked before you in all of its glory, but you can't look at yourselves, and so no way could you look at that shameless, although it almost looks like there's a face, not a happy face. 3 beings intertwined and yet disconnected. I feel bad for this guy. But I always do. I always feel less bad for humans, more bad for, worse for animals, more bad for animals, and even inanimate objects with faces. If you put eyes on something, you're going to make me feel a certain way about it. If something gets sad eyes, I'm going to feel sad for that thing. I'm trying to evolve to a higher perspective from that, but it's just how I feel. It's how I feel. This is all about feelings. Look at that. It's how I feel. All of us feel so bad. We all feel so bad. We're all embarrassed. Aww. And all we really want is to be seen. And look how we clothe ourselves. And we try to clothe it too. It's like, Don't wrap me up. Let me be free. I'm a peacock, you gotta let me fly. As Sassy Scorpion Tarot says. Yeah, girl. Interesting. So what's the antidote? To accepting our moon And our emotions, putting our emotions back in the box. Maybe you're meant to plant the tree of your emotions and let it grow, not twine and choke things out. As well as the hair. The hair is meant to fall and flow freely and happily, and it does what it does. It really has a life of its own. In connection with you, like a dog wags its tail, it reveals things about your state, the state of your being. And here, what is this revealing about your state? I just see shame. And just trying to hide, trying to control. For sure, there's control in there, right? Well, and it's not necessarily, you're not reaching out with your hands and trying to shut his eyes or like force him away, or you're not running. You're here participating in this discomfort, so I applaud that. And your hair is revealing your state, on its own accord. It's just being honest. And your emotions will always do that. And yet we think that, it's something to be controlled, And here is with the tree trunk. I mean, that's different. The woman's hair, it flows, but the trunk of a tree, it's so much surer, its form it lasts. Not that it can't be manipulated, the way that he's manipulated it around to cover himself and to follow suit, all the way up. Who would have thought? It's got to be a while of this for a tree, your tree to grow around you all the way up to the moon, following suit somehow without watching. So what is it responding to? And what is it representing being a tree? I'm probably going to stop this at the hour mark. I think that would be appropriate. But I'm not over this. I don't know whether to move on, or let's see if we can get some helpful hints here. Okay. The sun. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Eternity. Which looks like the hair, right? Look at those emotions. And yet is also consistent, like the tree. The sun always appears the same, and it's always honest about how it appears. And it grows up into little plants, like growing out of the earth. Beautiful flower. Yeah. Here is the earth inside the sun. Maybe that's what the sun sees. It's the reflection of the world in itself. And from that, its flames arise, from the center point of what it sees. It's inspired by us to be this way. It sees the good in the world despite everything. This is how it honestly feels about us. We don't have to feel guilty or wrong or like we're inherently bad. It doesn't think so, and it's being honest. And look what grows out of it. Life. This is eternity. Don't see clocks, a countdown until it's done. But this, feeling tired. My mind. I mean, I've been kind of hunched over like this whole time. Trying to work on that posture. Oh, that was a sternum pop. Yeah, baby. I sang Karma by Taylor Swift the other night when I was at Egos. Woo! It was awful, but the dancing was amazing. It was one of these. It was a this moment for me. Yes. I was on my knees at one point. It was a bit more sexual than pictured here. Do do do. I met so many people and made lots of connections. Friends. I might even call them friends. I just wish that they would look up at the moon and acknowledge it, because therein lies the answer. This is the beauty of this picture, really, is this. I mean, it's all beautiful. It's all beautiful. Even the craziness of this whole situation is beautiful. All right, 30 seconds. What else you got to say? What you got to say? I love this big flower growing up through the top and touching the forever. Growing out of the earth. Anyway. Something to contemplate. Okay, bye.